On average, 60 to 70 groups debut every year, but fewer than 5% actually survive, while the rest fall into oblivion. In 2012 alone, 60 groups launched their careers in an already oversaturated market, making it incredibly tough to stand out. And out of those 60, only a handful made a lasting impact, and AOA was one of them. And welcome back to Midnight Theories, and if you're new here, welcome to Midnight Theories. I know it's been a minute, but I'm finally back, and during my little break, I couldn't help but notice a resurgence of second-gen girl group content, especially AOA. Suddenly, Miniskirt was taking over my entire TikTok FYP and my Spotify playlist. Before I knew it, I was deep diving into their discography, and let me tell you, these girls had no skips. It made me realize that a lot of newer K-pop fans don't understand just how powerful AOA was during their prime. When they dropped a comeback, everyone tuned in. They weren't just in the game, they were competing with the biggest names in the industry and winning. So what better way to make a comeback than with an AOA deep dive? And what makes it even better? It's a two-parter. So grab your snacks and sit back because we're about to break down how this group went from overlooked rookies to one of the most dominant girl groups of their generation. Before FNC Entertainment became the powerhouse it is today, it all started with one man, Han Sung-ho. Unlike most big entertainment CEOs, Han wasn't a businessman or a former idol. Instead, he was an unsuccessful singer who struggled to make a name for himself in the industry. Realizing that performing wasn't his strong suit, he shifted gears and found his footing as a songwriter and composer. But Han had bigger ambitions. In 2006, he took a leap of faith and founded his own entertainment company, Fish and Cake Music, which later shortened to FNC Entertainment. FNC made a name for itself by producing male idol bands, an untapped market in the K-pop scene at the time. Their first two groups, FT Island and CN Blue, saw massive success, proving that there was a demand for idol bands. But as the early 2010s rolled around, the industry was shifting. Girl groups were finally taking over. Thanks to the meteoric rise of Girls' Generation, 21, and Miss A, female idols were dominating the charts and the overall pop culture landscape. FNC saw the writing on the wall. If they wanted to stay ahead of the curve, they had to tap into this booming market while it was hot. Now, all they needed was a group of talented young girls who could bring this vision to life. The first to join FNC's ambitious girl group project was Jimin in 2009, soon followed by Choa. Jimin was the group's fearless leader who could spit some fiery bold raps, while Choa was the hard-working main vocalist whose powerful yet delicate vocals defined the identity of the group. These two set the foundation for what would become FNC's first ever girl group. From there, the company searched far and wide to find the perfect members to complete the lineup. Mina was selected through an open audition. While she didn't have the basics down at first, FNC saw potential and helped guide her into becoming the group's lead rapper and sweet-tone vocalist. Sohyun was scouted at a modeling contest, and with her ethereal beauty and enchanting presence, it was a no-brainer that she would become the face of the group. Next came Yuna, Chanmi, and Haejung. Yuna passed her audition with elegant crystal-clear vocals, securing her spot as the lead vocalist. Chanmi, the youngest member of the group, was discovered while showing off her dance moves at a basketball game. She aced her auditions and she was offered a contract on the spot, paving the way for her to become the group's dancer, vocalist, and rapper. Haejung, on the other hand, was discovered at a beauty pageant, where she charmed FNC scouts and was brought in to help strengthen the group's vocal line. And the final piece of the puzzle was Youkyung, a unique addition to the team as she was the group's drummer. Yeah, you heard me right, drummer. That's not exactly the typical idol position, but Youkyung's insane drumming skills gave AOA that extra edge that set them apart. With these 8 stunning and talented women, AOA, short for Ace of Angels, was officially born. And because it was the early 2010s, the group had a full-fledged fantasy lore behind them. According to the original storyline, Choa, Jimin, Yuna, Haejung, Mina, Sohyun, and Chanmi were, quote, full angels, watching over Earth through a crystal ball. They became captivated by human music and decided to send Youkyung, a half angel, half human, down to Earth to experience it firsthand and bring it back to the heavens. Now, there's a reason why Youkyung was only considered a half angel, but we'll get to that in just a bit. And to really sell this angel concept, each member was given a unique, quote, angel name. And I use unique very loosely here because, well, FNC decided to mix Korean and English in the weirdest way possible. This resulted in some questionable names like Jiminel, Sohyanari, Henjungulus, and Chanmi Titi. Yeah, I have no clue how to pronounce some of these either. But spoiler alert, this whole angel lore and cringy names, yeah, they got tossed to the side and abandoned pretty quickly. AOA made their debut on July 30th, 2012. The album follows the tale of the angels who have just descended from the heavens, experiencing love for the first time on Earth, something they never experienced above. Their debut track, Elvis, is a bold introduction to their sound, layering a vibrant brass band arrangement with symphonic flourishes that heighten the song's dynamic flair. And before you get any ideas, the track has little to do with Elvis Presley. Instead, the lyrics compare charismatic, irresistible guy to the king of rock and roll himself, while the girls rock bedazzled fringe outfits loosely inspired by his iconic stage looks. A little unexpected for a group whose entire identity revolved around the word angel, but this was exactly what set them apart. Rather than boxing AOA into a cheesy, overly cutesy or ethereal concept, FNC made the smart move to keep things versatile. Sure, the angelic imagery is there, massive wings, flowing white dresses, and celestial glow, but their debut wasn't just about being delicate or mystical. The music video offers a variety of visuals and sounds, allowing the group to showcase multiple sides of themselves instead of being trapped in this overly gimmicky theme. And this flexibility would prove essential for their longevity. But you know what really made AOA stand out from the crowd? They didn't just debut as a typical girl group. They were a hybrid of both a dance group and a band. Yeah, you heard me right. For this debut, they alternated between dance and band performances, something totally completely unheard of at the time. So get this, FNC originally planned to debut an all-female idol band to follow in the footsteps of their successful boy bands, FT Island and CN Blue. Some of the members even had experience playing instruments before joining, but for whatever reason, the full band idea got scrapped. But FNC's founder Han was dead set on debuting a girl band in some capacity. So cue in AOA Black, the band unit of AOA consisting of Jimin, Choa, Mina, Yuna, and Youkyung. So you remember when I said Youkyung was only recognized as a half angel? Yeah, that's because she was only involved in the band unit, not the dance group. Turns out, she never wanted to be a traditional idol in the first place. She literally signed up just to be in the band and was exclusively part of AOA Black, which is why the group was officially branded as a 7+1 group. Confused? Yeah, same. And let me tell you, the band performances were super fun. It was refreshing to see a girl group dominate the stage, not only by singing and dancing, but playing instruments live as well. Honestly, these girls didn't get enough credit because, well, imagine not only trying to keep up with dance and vocal practice, but also having to learn to play an instrument and have real band practice on top of that. Many praised the group's ambition and hoped this would open more doors for live band performances in the idol scene. However, some industry insiders and the general public remained rather skeptical, citing concern about how well a hybrid girl group such as AOA could compete in a market driven by intense choreography and polished performances. Some even dismissed them as a gimmick, questioning if they could actually play their instruments or if they were simply being marketed as a novelty act. But let's be real, the double standard was insane. FNC's boy bands were praised for their live music skills. Oh, but when AOA Black debuted with the same concept, people suddenly weren't sure about it. Like, make it make sense. Despite the skepticism, the group worked hard to prove themselves. During live performances, they went out of their way to emphasize their instrumental skills, showing them playing in real time to silence the doubters. Fans praised them for their dedication, and while they built a loyal following, mainstream audiences still weren't convinced. But regardless of the outcome, AOA would prove that K-pop's boundaries are meant to be pushed. Whether this would mark the start of a new era or remain a bold experiment, one thing was certain: the group would be making noise in more ways than one. And just a few short months after promotions for their debut wrapped up, AOA graced the stage once again with the release of their second single album, Wannabe, featuring the single Get Out. This song shows a bit more attitude than their debut. Their sound takes over a power pop dance style, backed by pounding rock drums and electronic guitar riffs. And let's be real, who couldn't forget the addictive O part and the dance moves that make you want to drop everything and try it yourself? But here's where things got even trickier. The band concept low-key overshadowed the dance unit. The band performances were so cool and unique that the traditional idol performances kinda started looking, blah in comparison. And to top it off, the group ditched their angel concept entirely in favor for a movie theme, where each member cosplayed as famous female leads. There was no storyline connecting the characters, which felt like a missed opportunity. At this point, FNC was trying so hard to push this Transformer concept, but instead of making AOA stand out, it just highlighted the flaws. And to be honest, people were split. Some loved the ambition, while others wished AOA would fully commit to one concept instead of juggling both. Clearly, FNC got the memo because they went back to the drawing board. On July 26, 2013, AOA Black attempted to flip the script with their very own debut single, Moya. This bold move wasn't just about artistic expression, but a test to see if the industry and the public were ready to embrace an idol group that fully embraced both worlds. And as you could have guessed, the stakes were high. While K-pop has seen successful band-oriented groups in the past, the girl group market has rarely explored this territory at this scale. If this comeback could resonate with fans and perform well on the charts, it could solidify their position as true idols who are also musicians, paving the way for future girl groups to explore a similar path. The single itself is a spunky pop-rock R&B track that allows the quintet to showcase their instrumental skills. But unfortunately, while Moya was well received by the existing fans and praised for its catchy hook, it failed to capture the attention of the general public. The single album sold less than 5,000 copies and peaked at number 54 on the charts. A respectable placement, don't get me wrong, but not enough to justify continuing the band concept. And as much as it pained them to admit, FNC had to face reality. AOA Black was just too ahead of their time. For their next comeback, AOA said goodbye to their guitar and drumsticks and hello to high heels and body rolls with their fourth single album, Red Motion. With the industry heating up and girl groups dominating the charts with bold, mature concepts, AOA knew they had two choices: adapt or flop. Naturally, they chose the former. Enter their sexy era, a complete 180 from their previous releases. Confused was a total game changer. Gone were the instruments and band performances. This time, it was all about the sleek, sultry choreography and sophisticated, alluring vibes. And the music video, minimalistic yet impactful. Unlike their earlier MVs, which were packed with cheap CGI and wonky wings, this one kept it simple, letting the focus stay on their performance. And honestly, it worked. The minimalistic approach made their performances the main attraction. And those elegant yet deadly moves, I'm telling you, lethal. And the styling was also mature without trying too hard. But the real MVPs of this track? Choa, Yuna, and Hyejeong. These three absolutely ate up the vocal line with their powerful belts, impressive ranges, and undeniable stage presence. Yuna's voice alone could cut through steel, Hyejeong's crystal clear tone balanced everything out, and Choa's vocals added that extra layer of richness. AOA was no longer that group with an identity crisis, they were competitors. While Red Motion did better than their previous releases, it still wasn't that viral breakthrough they needed. In fact, what got them more attention than the song itself was a Seolhyun fan cam. It's not as surprising as it sounds when you say it out loud, but they were a pretty underrated group. Yep, one video of Seolhyun performing Confused had the internet in a complete chokehold. Her mesmerizing stage presence and stunning visuals turned her into an overnight it girl, drawing a whole new wave of attention to AOA. People who had never checked out the group before were suddenly very interested. This success encouraged them to experiment further with their sound and image, gradually moving away from their band identity altogether. For many longtime fans, this shift was bittersweet. The band concept, while not a commercial hit, had given AOA a unique edge in the oversaturated market. But as the group leaned fully into a dance idol route, Youkyung's role became more and more unclear, and fans started to worry about her future in AOA. Regardless, with this newfound momentum, AOA doubled down and decided to go even harder with their next comeback. The era of angel lore and half-band confusion was officially over. AOA was just about to step into their final form. And let me tell you, K-pop wasn't ready for this. Miniskirt, off the album of the same name, was released on January 16, 2014. You know, for a song called Miniskirt, it's almost ironic that none of the members actually wore one. Instead, the group rocked tight-fitted dresses, pencil skirts, and booty shorts. It's almost like the group's way of playing a prank on the audience. Name the song Miniskirt, and then refuse to show a single one. Genius or trolling, who knows? The music video knew exactly what it was doing, putting AOA's best assets, front and center with a heavy dose of fan service. Between the flirty and hypnotic choreography and some chef-kiss dramatic close-up shots, the MV serves just the right amount of spice. And of course, a generous serving of Sohyun's screen time. Because if we learn anything from the last comeback, that's one thing that gets the public talking. Add to that, Choa finally debuting her now iconic bob, a life-changing decision, truly. Together, these two left an undeniable visual impact on the K-pop scene, setting a standard that was practically untouchable at the time. For this release, the group collaborated with hit producer Brave Brothers, a partnership that would prove pivotal for their growing success in the years to come. Known for his addictive hooks and punchy soundscape, Brave Brothers crafted a track that perfectly showcases AOA's new image. The girls take on an even more flirtatious concept that boasts extreme sex appeal and fragile femininity, a style they rock with confidence. It was a bit controversial though, since the youngest member of the group, Chanmi, was only 17 at the time, and they had her performing some pretty risque choreography, I'm not gonna lie. But regardless, the single was a commercial breakthrough. Miniskirt didn't just deliver the group's highest chart placement yet, soaring to number 11 on the South Korean Gaon digital chart, but it was the 32nd best performing single of 2014 in the country, and the album sold over 14,000 copies. It also earned AOA their first music show win on February 9th, 2014. What also boosted AOA's recognition was with their extreme popularity with, get this, the Korean military men. During their peak from 2014 to 2016, AOA was the top-tier favorite among Korean soldiers, largely thanks to their sexy yet approachable concepts, catchy songs, and energetic performances. Since Miniskirt, each comeback was considered an anthem in military camps, and their performances at military events were always met with roaring enthusiasm. Like, these men were charging the stage like a wild pack of animals to get a close look at the girls. Sohyun, in particular, was a major icon among soldiers. Her popularity skyrocketed, and she was often referred to as, quote, the goddess of the military. Her CFs were widely recognized, and even her life-size standees were reportedly highly coveted at military bases. Listen, Miniskirt was just that era for AOA. Even years later, Miniskirt continued to leave its mark. A decade after its release, the song's music video officially hit 100 million views on YouTube, proving that its legacy and AOA's impact were still very much alive. It was the perfect storm of ingredients that made Miniskirt a hit. Brave Brothers' Midas touch, AOA's sleek and sultry choreography, and vocals smoother than a silk slip dress. Also, a little fan service didn't hurt. For the first time, AOA wasn't just catching the eyes of fans, they were grabbing the attention of the general public and refusing to let go. Everything about this comeback felt intentional, from the hypnotic zipper choreography to the moody elegance of the concept, proving that sometimes all you need is the right producer, the right styling choices, and Sohyun staring into the camera like she's unlocking your soul, to turn this song into a career-defining moment. And sure, maybe we had to sacrifice Youkyung and Cho's song locks to the K-pop gods along the way, but I feel like it was for a worthy cause. After Miniskirt, FNC Entertainment and Brave Brothers knew they had cracked the code, the perfect formula for an AOA hit. With their newfound sexier image and sultry sound, the group had officially carved out a distinct identity in the K-pop world. Fans and industry insiders alike eagerly awaited for their next comeback, wondering if they could deliver something just as impactful. For their next comeback, AOA released Short Hair on June 19th, 2014. Yep, Choa's bob was so iconic that AOA sang a whole song about it. Imagine that. I'm kidding, of course, but if someone were to tell me that her hairstyle inspired short hair, I'd believe you. But honestly, somebody needs to do a scientific study on Choa's hair, because it seemed like the shorter the hair, the more likely their song would become a hit. Seriously, this girl's hair was so iconic, it practically had its own cult following at one point. And get this, a character from a popular webtoon called Yumi Self was modeled after the idol's signature look. But enough about Choa's hair. AOA heads straight to the salon after getting their license in contology. By the way, they were serving on set that day. The music video is bright and colorful, showing the members experimenting with different styles and embracing their change with confidence. While it had a more playful feel compared to Miniskirt, the song still carried that signature Brave Brothers touch. Catchy, polished, and effortlessly addictive. And let's be real, we can't forget Jim's iconic "Hey" kicking off the track. At this point, the way she sprinkles "hey" into every song from this point on, it's like she personally trademarked the word. The track tells the story of a woman trying to move on from her past relationship and starting fresh. The lyrics focus on her transformation, both physically and emotionally. Cutting her hair short becomes a sort of metaphor for moving forward, leaving the past behind and embracing a fresh start. Ironically, this pretty much mirrors AOA's career. Just like how the song's protagonist sheds her long locks as a sign of reinvention, AOA had cut ties with their old band concept, fully committing to their newfound identity as a more traditional girl group. On July 4th, Short Hair was nominated for first place on Music Bank, making them their second consecutive nominee for first place. But unfortunately, they were crushed by Beast in the album scores and only finished in second place. When male idols with strong fandoms do well on the music charts, it's nearly impossible for an average girl group to win first place. Regardless though, Short Hair was a complete hit. The album peaked at number 4 on the Gun Weekly Album Chart, and the song at number 5 on the digital chart, and sold about 20,000 copies. Not too bad. The music video ranked 8th on the Billboard's most viewed K-pop videos around the world for June, and the following month, they released their first photo book, which was accompanied with behind-the-scenes videos to promote the release. 2014 had undoubtedly been AOA's time to shine. From Miniskirt to Short Hair, they had been serving looks, bobs, and just the right amount of Brave Brothers produced magic. And with teasers dropping for their next comeback, fans were hyped. And let's be honest, at this point, so was every military base in South Korea. Enter Like a Cat, AOA's third consecutive hit with Brave Brothers, released on November 11th, 2014. The song came in swinging with a ridiculously addictive hook, leader Jimin's signature "Hey," and choreography that was equal parts elegant and dangerous, mirroring the mischievous movements of a cat on the prowl. Lyrically, Like a Cat is all about a confident woman who knows how to work her charm and leave her lover completely whipped. And AOA, they didn't just sing it, they completely owned it. Just as leather-clad cat burglars, they pulled off a diamond heist in the music video, proving that they could steal hearts just as easily as they could steal jewels. And let's not forget the moment they officially leveled up. Their first ever product placement. That's right, we get some high-stakes action and a mobile game ad. Now we know AOA wasn't exactly known for dressing like nuns before this, but Like a Cat took their signature sultriness to the next level. If Miniskirt and Confused were considered sexy, then Like a Cat was basically the moment they walked in the room and made everyone forget how to breathe. This comeback really had everyone drooling. Everything was sleek, polished, and oozing confidence. The choreography was effortlessly alluring, the camera work flattering from every possible angle, and the outfits snatched and tight in all the right places. And while Miniskirt had plenty of subtle shots that required the cameraman to be crouched at all times, this comeback somehow turned the heat up even more, without feeling forced or overdone. And of course, we can't talk about Like a Cat without Sohyun. Like, girl, you did not have to gag us like that. That laser beam crawl? She said Mission Impossible, but make it cunty. Did she trigger every single alarm in that room? Absolutely, but did anyone care? No, because we're too busy watching her eat up the entire scene. Pretty much at this point, AOA wasn't just doing a heist in the music video. They were out here robbing wigs, stealing bias spots, and running the entire game. By the time Like a Cat rolled in, AOA had secured themselves as a top-tier girl group of 2014. The song peaked at number 5 on the Gun digital chart, dominated the number 1 spot on the Gun social chart for 6 straight weeks, Internationally, it debuted at number 7 on Billboard's World Digital Song Sale chart, making it their first appearance on the US chart. And in the Philippines, it hit number 1 on the Music One chart and in China's KUWO chart, proving that AOA's music and visuals had a global appeal. And let's be real, the true impact of Like a Cat could be measured by the number of South Korean soldiers clutching their hearts every time it played. If Miniskirt had them gasping for air, Like a Cat had them calling for medical assistance. With all the success, it was no surprise that AOA took home their second ever music show win. To top it all off, Like a Cat even caught the attention of Fuse, which they named it as one of November's top 10 best pop songs we've heard, praising it as a quote, an addictive sultry track that's one of the boldest pop songs to come out of Korea. By the end of the year, one thing was crystal clear. AOA wasn't just playing in the big leagues anymore, they owned the jungle. After dropping 3 consecutive hits, AOA had set the bar high, but with every new success came the ultimate question: can they keep the streak going? The summer of 2015 was a battleground, with girl groups fighting for the coveted, quote, Summer Queens title. And AOA, they weren't about to sit on the sidelines. AOA took a bold step away from their signature sleek, sultry sound, the same one that put them on the map, and instead dived headfirst into a peppy electropop explosion with Heart Attack. This song wasn't just catchy, it was an adrenaline rush in audio form. The pounding beats, zippy synths, and stadium cheering sounds blended seamlessly with AOA's vocals, making everything feel hypercharged yet effortlessly smooth. Oh, and get this, this was AOA's first single without any English lyrics, which means international fans had zero lifelines to grab onto besides sheer vibes. This song wasn't just about catching feels. AOA really said, love at first sight, cute, try cardiac arrest, and somehow they made this level of over-the-top infatuation sound completely normal and 100% danceable. The music video was classic AOA formula. Take a group of drop-dead gorgeous women, throw them into a fun, slightly unhinged team-based scenario, and let them work their magic. AOA had no business making a sporty, high-energy concept look this sexy, but they did it anyways. The dynamic choreography plus the bright, addictive melody made it clear that they were here to cool off the summer heat, ironically by making it even hotter. And of course, they kept the winning streak alive. Heart Attack peaked at number 2 on the GAN charts, hit 7 on the Billboard US World Chart, and sold nearly 50,000 physical copies. The group also took home a music show win on Show Champion. On October 4th, 2015, AOA celebrated their 3rd anniversary with a fan meeting, but the real surprise, AOA Black's long-lost drummer made an appearance. For longtime fans, it was a touching moment, a glimpse of the full AOA lineup that had been shelved for years. But for newer fans, it was almost like this, wait, who is she kind of moment? Because we already know FNC had done such a terrible job at keeping her involved since AOA Black's single Moya was released. Unfortunately though, this fan meeting was one of Youkyung's last official group activities. After Youkyung's rare appearance, rumors swirled that AOA Black was making a comeback. Spoiler alert, it didn't happen. After years of neglect from FNC, Youkyung's contract expired in 2016 and she left the company. Various articles had been packaging it as this beautiful breakup mutual agreement, but it's closer to the reality that she can no longer endure it after 3 years of the band unit being abandoned, and she ended her uncomfortable cohabitation with FNC. Her departure was something that was already predicted. The only question was, when would it happen? Post FNC, Youkyung continued her love for drumming, joining the band Piezit in 2019. She later left, but she wasn't done with music yet. In 2020, she participated in a co-ed band called Y&Z Project and released one album called Boot the System, but disbanded sometime in 2021. Then, in 2022, she formed her own female band, Uni, and they released their debut single, Dive, in December. A year later, they dropped another song called Blue Night, which, side note, is actually really good and deserves a listen. However, after that, Uni went silent. Their Instagram account disappeared and their YouTube channel hasn't been updated in nearly a year, leading fans to assume the band has quietly disbanded. These days, Youkyung is still active on YouTube, running her channel, Use Drums, where she posts drum covers and vlogs. She even keeps in touch with some of her former AOA members and once covered Come See Me, a heartwarming nod to her old group. So if you're missing AOA Black and want to support Youkyung, go give her channel a follow. She's still killing it behind the drums, and honestly, she deserves all the love. At this point, it was painfully obvious that FNC had favorites in AOA. Some members were getting shoved into the spotlight at every chance, while the rest were basically background characters in their own group. So in an attempt to balance things out, or at least pretend to, AOA's next subunit was born, AOA Cream, starring Yuna, Haejung, and Chanmi. AOA had spent the last few years perfecting the sexy confidence-dripping concept, turning up the heat with every comeback, but AOA Cream, they said, let's go full-on sugar rush. This subunit was here to serve cuteness overload, sugar pop, and that kind of sparkly, ultra-girly aesthetic that makes your teeth hurt just by looking at it. On February 12, 2016, AOA Cream dropped I'm Jelly Baby, a song about a girl who's jealous of her cheating boyfriend and plans to get him back. Not exactly the most empowering message, but at least they made him suffer with some magical girl revenge. The song itself is light, poppy, and ridiculously auto-tuned. It's that kind of track you hear once, cringe a little, and then suddenly find yourself humming at 3 a.m. Is it my favorite track of AOA's discography? No. But unfortunately, it's catchy as hell. The transitions are a bit clunky and the chorus isn't as strong as the pre-chorus, a rare case where the build-up outshines the drop, but I really like Chanmi's rap. Usually Jimin is the one handling rap duties, but for this unit, Chanmi stepped up, and honestly, I kinda prefer her tone and floor better, if only they hadn't auto-tuned the hell out of her voice. As for the music video, AOA Cream went full-on Barbie Dreamhouse meets Sailor Moon. The plot was mildly unhinged magical revenge, and the choreography was trying really hard to be sassily cute, yet low-key sexy. And the styling was kind of a mess. They did my girl Chanmi so dirty with that hair. I still haven't recovered. Now, AOA has pulled off this playful flirty vibe before, like in Short Hair and Heart Attack, but here it felt kind of forced. The close-up shots, the exaggerated wings, the suggestive ice cream licking, it just wasn't hitting like it should. But even with all that, I'm Jelly Baby wasn't a complete flop. It landed at number 29 on the GAN digital chart in its debut week and peaked at number 26 the following week. It also racked up over 1.1 million streams in just the first week and stayed on the chart for 5 consecutive weeks. Not exactly a smash hit, but hey, not a total disaster either. After spending time on solo activities and subunits, AOA finally regrouped to bless us with a brand new album, and just in time for the summer comeback battle. The girls splashed in, literally, with their new single, Good Luck. The music video, or should I say glorified Sprite commercial, is a fun, sizzling Baywatch parody where the members transform into Baywatch-inspired lifeguards, and their entire plot is just them running in slow motion, dancing on the beach, and partying in Guam. Literally, no storyline, no thoughts, just vibes. And honestly, that's all we needed. Oh, and let's not forget the extra members of the group. The Sprite bottle and all the other product placements placed throughout the music video. I guess that's where the budget came from. Musically, Good Luck marked a major shift for AOA. After 4 consecutive hits produced by Brave Brothers, this was their first title track without his signature touch. Instead, they dove into a refreshing EDM-inspired sound, packed with punchy beats and an infectious melody, and an insanely catchy chorus. Lyrically, the song is peak girl boss energy, telling the man they better step up their game if they want a shot at winning the girl's heart. And AOA wasn't here to chase, they were making it clear that the guys would have to work for their attention. But just when the comeback was picking up steam, controversy struck. Days before the release, Jimin and Sohyun ended up in hot waters after failing to recognize Korean independence hero An Jung-gung on a quiz segment on On-Style Show. The backlash was pretty immediate, as he's a major historical figure taught in Korean schools from a young age. Apologies were quickly posted, but the timing couldn't have been worse. Then, as if things weren't messy enough, the music video was suddenly taken down just hours after its release. The reason? Toyota and Honda logos not being blurred out, aka Japanese brands linked to Korea's colonial past. Given the recent controversy, FNC scrambled to fix it before it added fuel to the fire. Despite everything, AOA pushed through promotions like true professionals. The drama did affect their rankings a bit, but they still secured music show nominations and multiple wins. But of course, the comeback couldn't end without one final mess. On May 24th, the group took their first place trophy on the show, and on May 25th, the group took a second trophy, this time on Show Champion. However, it was their third win on Music Bank, which became pretty controversial. On an episode of Music Bank, AOA went up against their tough competition, Twice, who was promoting Cheer Up at the time. At the end of the show, AOA was announced as the week's winner with 6,400 points. Viewers found the scoring rather suspicious. Music Bank calculates the winners based on 4 factors: digital sales, viewer votes, broadcast scores, and album sales. When viewers compared the scores with other artists, they realized that the scores didn't add up and the program made a mistake. 2 days later, KBS admitted they had miscalculated, blaming it on an Excel sheet error. But instead of taking away the trophy from AOA, they gave Twice a separate one because at this point, why not? After all this, AOA suddenly ended promotions early. FNC claimed it as not having to do with the controversies, but let's be real, the timing was suspicious. Despite the chaos, Good Luck was still a success. The song peaked at number 2 on the GAN digital chart, topped the download chart, and ranking up millions of streams. 2016 was a roller coaster for AOA, but after some time to regroup and reflect, the girls were ready to come back stronger than ever. For the first time, AOA finally dropped their first full-length album, about time to be honest, and to make the moment even bigger, they hit us with not one, but 2 title tracks, Excuse Me and Bing Bing. Kicking off the album, Excuse Me is a synth-heavy R&B infused track that takes you on a ride with its bright melody, fast-paced progression, and dreamy vocals. If you weren't obsessed at first listen, you probably weren't listening hard enough. Lyrically, the song is about falling in love at first sight and freaking out over it. The girls are low-key begging their crush to notice them because the feeling's hitting different. The use of the English phrase excuse me makes it even cuter, like, oh sorry sir, didn't mean to fall head over heels, but here we are. The music video leans into a fun mystery theme with the girls playing detectives on a mission to track someone down. The concept complements the song's narrative. Just like in love, they're desperate for answers and won't stop until they get them. Bing Bing is basically a more edgy and dynamic version of Excuse Me. Whereas Excuse Me is about its big chorus, Bing Bing's melodic hooks are more evenly distributed, resulting in a song that feels vibey but less streamlined. The combination of the lofty trumpets, the swiftness of the tracks, and the powerful beat ensures that things never get boring. For this music video, the girls are sexy magicians pulling off dazzling tricks, as if they weren't hypnotizing enough. Coming off the disaster that was the Good Luck controversy era, the odds were kinda stacked against them. And yeah, the start was rocky, but these girls are nothing if not resilient. With constant promotions and undeniable talent, they turned the tide and started gaining momentum again. They grabbed a hold of first place on Show Champion for 2 consecutive weeks and secured a win on M Countdown. Excuse Me peaked at number 22 on the GAN digital chart, while Bing Bing landed at number 45. The album also debuted at number 5 on the Billboard's World Album charts, marking it their highest ranking debut album of the week. And despite the rocky road leading up to this comeback, AOA proved once again why they were unstoppable queens of the K-pop scene. Things were finally looking up for AOA again, and with summer around the corner, fans were eagerly waiting for another iconic AOA summer anthem. But then, boom, out of nowhere, devastating news hit the fandom. On June 22nd, AOA's powerhouse main vocalist and fan favorite Choa announced her departure in a heartfelt Instagram post. She opened up about her struggles with depression and insomnia, revealing that these issues had led her to the decision to leave. But while Choa was being candid about her health, rumors started swirling that she was actually leaving due to a relationship with a wealthy CEO. Despite her efforts to shut down those rumors, speculation still ran wild. Adding to the confusion, FNC Entertainment initially refused to confirm her departure. Speaking to My Daily, the company claimed that Choa still had 2 years left on her contract and that nothing had been finalized yet. Choa had stated in her post that she had consulted with the agency, but FNC's response made it seem like they weren't fully on board or that there was more going on behind the scenes. Some fans speculated that FNC had other plans for Choa outside of AOA, but no clear answers were given. Then, on June 30th, FNC finally made it official. Choa was leaving AOA, though she would still remain under the company's exclusive contract. With one of AOA's strongest vocalists and most recognizable faces gone, Fans feared the worst. Was this the beginning of the end for AOA? The future as a group was uncertain, but one thing was clear. AOA had just lost a vital piece of their identity. The remaining members spent the rest of the year focusing on solo activities, but when they finally reunited for their long-awaited comeback, the stakes had never been higher. Fans had been holding their breaths, wondering if AOA could truly bounce back after such a major lineup change. Could they maintain their status as one of K-pop's top girl groups as a 6-member team? The doubters were pretty loud, but AOA said, "Hold my mic," and came back swinging with the summer anthem that proved that they were still that girl group. The title track, Bingle Bangle, was tailor-made for summer. Bingle Bangle. Bang, bang. Opening with an addictive whistle, funky brass, and a beat that just makes you want to vibe. It's a little cuter and bubblier than their usual sound, but it's still undeniably AOA. Plus, it was a nice change-up after not working with longtime collaborator Brave Brothers, making it a fresh switch-up. One of the biggest concerns after Choa left was who would step up to fill in the massive vocal gap she left behind. Like, let's be real, she was AOA's vocal powerhouse, and her absence could have easily thrown off the group's entire dynamic. But Yoona and Hyejung really delivered. Yoona naturally took on more high notes and chorus lines, proving that she had the range all along. Meanwhile, Hyejung, who was often slept on vocally, stepped up in a major way, bringing her smooth, rich tones into the mix. The teamwork was seamless, and instead of trying to replicate Choa's signature style, they brought in their own flair to AOA sound. And the music video was pure fun. The girls, except Mina, are inside a retro video game, and while it's a major shift from the usual sexy concept, they still look drop-dead gorgeous. Bingle Bangle hit number 4 on the GAN digital chart and number 3 on the K-pop Hot 100, and were nominated for several end-of-the-year awards, showing that even after everything, AOA still had the general public in a chokehold. AOA proved that they were still the blueprint. The summer queens were back, and just as things were looking up, contract renewals approached. The disbandment rumors were deafening. Was this the end of AOA? Was their latest comeback their final bow? FNC Entertainment quickly responded to the speculation, assuring everyone that the negotiations were in progress and going well. But of course, that did little to silence the uncertainty. Then, on May 13, 2019, the verdict was in. Jimin, Yoona, Hyejung, Sohyun, and Chunmi decided to stick with FNC, renewing their contracts and committing to AOA's future. Meanwhile, Mina chose to part ways, leaving the group to pursue her acting career under ON Entertainment. With Mina's departure, AOA officially became a 5-member group, and let's be honest, losing another member after Choa had already left a major test for them. Not long after Mina's exit, AOA took on Mnet's Queendom, a high-stakes girl group survival show where they had to go head-to-head with other top-tier acts. Despite challenges and their recent setbacks, the girls stepped up, reminding everyone why they're icons in the first place. AOA were met with rave reviews, showcasing their versatility, stage presence, and undeniable charisma. More specifically, their cover of Mamamoo's Egotistic instantly trended on Naver, and their digital release flew straight to the charts. By the end of the competition, AOA secured 4th place, but more importantly, they proved to everyone, and maybe even themselves, that they could still dominate the stage as a 5-member group. Queendom wasn't just a competition for them, it was a statement. AOA was still in the game, and they weren't going anywhere. What AOA needed after Queendom was a powerful, show-stopping comeback, something to reignite the hype and solidify their place in the industry again. After nearly 2 years away from the scene, they finally made their return on November 26, 2019, with Come See Me, a title that felt like a bold declaration. Now promoting as a 5-member group, AOA invited listeners to quote, "Come See Me," through a hypnotic electropop track. The song retained their signature catchy pop polish, but leaned into a Eurodance meets Western sound. While the chorus was addictive, it lacked the unique instrumental punch that had once set AOA apart from their competition. That said, they served visuals with a sophisticated and fiery concept that was a clear departure from the bright, playful energy of Bingle Bangle. Instead, this comeback tapped into a more elegant and sultry image of their Excuse Me era, a move that felt like a return to form. Despite facing tough industry competition, Come See Me performed solidly. The song debuted at number 8 on the Billboard's World Digital Song Sale chart, marking AOA's fifth top 10 and their highest charting single in nearly 2 years. It also entered Melon's real-time chart at number 30, later climbing to number 11. However, their music videos were lower than expected, and compared to Bingle Bangle, it felt like FNC just wasn't pushing them hard enough. With fewer broadcast appearances and minimal promo, the song peaked at number 8 on the music shows. Still a strong ranking, but noticeably lower than AOA's former chart-topping dominance. By this point, AOA was entering their 7th year, a notorious breaking point for girl groups, as newer, younger acts continue flooding the industry. FNC had also shifted focus to their newly debuted girl group, Cherry Bullet, leaving AOA's trajectory uncertain. Once promotions wrapped, the members returned to solo activities, and while there was no news of a new album or concert, AOA kept reassuring fans that they were still active. A group reality show was even teased, keeping the hope alive. But then on one random day, everything came crashing down. On July 30th, 2020, a bombshell dropped that no one saw coming, shaping the group's legacy and leaving fans devastated. So what really happened? How did things go from a career resurgence to absolute chaos? And where are the members now? Stay tuned for part 2, where we dive deep into Mina's allegations, the mistreatment controversy, and the aftermath that changed AOA forever. If you like these type of videos, recommend which group or topic I should cover next. And as always, thank you for watching and enjoy your stay.